Hi folks, today we're going to take a look at Lana's upcoming appeal for her arrest in Alabama. But before we start today's video, as always, a big thank you to all of my current and new channel members and subscribers. Without all of your support, I couldn't keep this channel going, so I want to thank you all personally from the bottom of my heart. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe to the page. Leave a like and a comment because it helps me with the algorithm. Don't forget to check out my second channel and the podcast. With all that being said, let's enjoy today's video.
So I was charged with 3 misdemeanors: obstructing government operations, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespassing. I had to pay a $1,500 bond to get out of jail after spending about 7 hours locked up, most of which was spent in solitary confinement.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. And we're calling shenanigans, folks, because Lana is trying to mislead and lie to everybody. You see, she was not placed in solitary confinement due to the fact that they don't do that during booking. Now, what more likely happened was due to the fact that Lana being a transgendered individual, they placed her in a booking cell by herself for her safety and the safety of inmates to prevent anybody from saying another inmate attacked them. This is a common practice done by jails all across the country. If this was a prison or an actual jail setting where she was booked and sentenced, she would be more likely placed in a sensitive needs yard, where they place people who are more at risk of being attacked by the general population for their safety. But Lana, if you're gonna lie, at least come up with a believable one.
The corrupt judge Mitchell S. Floyd issued this sentencing order. He states that on May 16, 2024, that defendant and a companion went into the courthouse and conducted no business. We all know that freedom of press is our business. If government is spending your money, the corrupt court of Mitchell Floyd says you're not allowed to go see what they're spending it on. Case law, International News Service, the Associated Press states the business of gathering and communicating the news was a legitimate business.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Lana, did you read what that case was about actually? Because you're trying to bend it to your narrative, but it's not gonna bend. See, International News Service Company versus the Associated Press was a copyright case. Yes, the International News Service Corporation was taking articles exactly word for word from Hearst Publications and using them as if it was their reporting. So this isn't about you going somewhere and gathering content or gathering information for a story. You went into a courthouse and they told you to leave, you refused, and you were arrested. Plain and simple.
Thomas Jefferson stated that it is we the people's duty to watch our government. He goes on to say that when a government becomes destructive, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish said government and institute a new government to secure safety and happiness. The corrupt judge then states that the staff asked GT and I if we needed help, and we stated that we were just taking some pictures and video. The staff initiated the interaction and then went on to create a disturbance. Why is it so hard for government employees to understand that we the people want to do checks and balances of our government, especially with the recent events in the past few years? Let us take our pictures and video.
How about new?
It's completely lawful. A camera is only a threat to corruption. I have thousands of hours of videos to prove that statement. Ask your Marshall County government, what are you hiding? It's a freaking GoPro. We weren't required to leave the public areas of the courthouse because we weren't breaking any laws. The corrupt Lieutenant Sorrell and tax commissioner made charges up to hide their corruption. The corrupt judge goes on to start talking about forum doctrine. Why is it so hard for people to understand forum doctrine? This judge must have missed that part in Law School 101. The act of recording for news is non-expressive. If I was going into the lobbies of the tax commissioner and holding a protest or screaming and shouting, then that is expressive, and they could have asked me to leave. The camera is like that of a pencil to a speech. The pencil is not expressive in of itself. It's only...
Well, there's a few things we need to address here. One, yeah, you were perfectly fine in the hallways because those were the publicly accessible areas. Secondly, when you went into the tax assessor's office and they asked you to leave and you refused, that was the issue. Because they handle private and personal information. So they had all rights to ask you to leave and go back to the hallways if you wanted to record. The last thing I want to bring up is this. You were not there as a member of the press. You weren't gathering content for a story. You were gathering content for a YouTube video because you already had a pre-existing bias towards the government that you couldn't put aside. If you were truly a journalist, you would follow the standards and practices of journalism. And one of those key tenets is to be non-biased. You already had a bias going in, and even if they would have allowed you to film, somebody in that office would have found a reason to upset you. And you would have gone off the rails blaming them, calling them tyrants.
A tool to expression. See Price v. Garland. This corrupt judge wants me to spend a total of 6 months in jail and thousands in fines, and also a 24-month probation. This is meant to deter anybody else from looking into their corruption. It is meant to scare others away, to keep you from exercising your freedoms, your rights.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
The corrupt judge's parting word at the end of the sentencing order was, although ample law exists to justify this court's finding, undersigned prefers to summarize the cases in simpler language. Defendant sought trouble and found it.
In other words, you fucked around and you found out.
Think about that. I was walking around a public courthouse with nobody in that location other than the government employees and spent about 7 minutes from the time I entered the public courthouse, and they arrested me with my GoPro. What a menace to society. That's sarcasm. Of course, my attorney filed an agreement in support of a finding of not guilty on all charges. The first charge of obstructing government operations, he found specific case law, DADO versus State of Alabama. It requires physical interference because the word physical modifies both force and interference in the statute. And what actions rise to the level of physical interference? Please rewatch my video and comment if you saw anywhere I got physical other than when the corrupt deputy touched me unlawfully to arrest me. Then the case law goes on to say that obstructing governmental operations does require that the interference be physical interferences and that the words alone fail to provide culpability under the statute.
Physical interference, like you telling them that you will not leave after they've told you to, and you refusing to move as they were showing you the door. Yeah, that's physical resistance.
This Alabama code would mean that there would be no outer limits to the statute and would contradict the legislative intent. The next bogus charge of disorderly conduct, my attorney points out the operative part of the code section that applies to me is A6. A person commits the crime of disorderly conduct if, with the intent to cause public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm, or recklessly creating risk thereof, he or she does any of the following: congregates with any other person in a place and refuses to comply with a lawful order of law enforcement to disperse. The state failed miserably to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I caused public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm, or recklessly created a risk. Remember, I was walking around quietly with a GoPro, and the state cannot be the victim. I legally entered the courthouse without incident. Also remember case law Smith v. the City of Cumming. We have the right to video government employees in the course of their duties, period. I also did not congregate by definition.
Okay, Smith v. Cummings means you can film the police. That's what that case was about. Now, you guys want to say, oh, well, it's about filming government employees. No, it's about filming the police. Get it right. Secondly, you were congregating with somebody. Russ counts as at least 3 people. So, I'm just saying, you were congregating with people. And it wasn't a bogus and bullshit order or charge due to the fact that you were in a limited public forum, being the tax assessor's office, and they had asked you to leave and you refused. By you refusing to leave and refusing after the deputies told you to leave, that was grounds to have you arrested for disorderly conduct and trespassing.
Dictionary definition of the word congregate is when people gather in a crowd or mass. Clearly, there's no evidence that I congregated with anyone else. Lastly, on the bogus charge of criminal trespass, I never defied a lawful order to vacate, period. I had every right to be in a public place and video record anything that I wanted from a public place. I, of course, appealed the railroading that was done to me by the corrupt judge, prosecutor, and deputy. It was a $9,000 bond. I am currently waiting on a jury trial. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. The district court jury trial will be what they call de novo, which means the court will look into the case as if it was a brand new case. It's not supposed to hold any prior assumptions or conclusions. I will definitely keep you guys updated, but I want you to listen to.
And we're going to end it here, folks. I will do my best to try to keep you guys updated on what's going on with this trial and the outcome of it. But what have we learned in this video? Lana's going to lie about everything as always. The judges in Alabama don't want you to fuck around and find out the hard way, because they will make you learn the hard way. And Russ apparently doesn't count as a congregation of people, even though when he goes to Taco Bell, he eats for the congregation of 5. So, if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up and a comment because it helps me with the algorithm. Don't forget to check out NCR Movie Network, my second channel, and the Craptown Florida Man Power Ranking Podcast, episode 15, with our special guest, the Captain from the Nightcap, is out right now. With all that being said, be well, be safe, and I'll see you guys next time. And a special thank you to all members of the news team. Without all of your support, I couldn't keep the channel going. So I want to thank all of you so much from the bottom of my heart, because you guys are the best.